Dr. Nyao Bakirova presents a series of discussions about the place of Kazakh culture in the global world. Meetings with prominent public figures, candid conversations, collisions of opinions, and discussions about the most important things.
Dear Marina, hello.
Hello, I'm very happy to be here with you today.
We will be speaking about culture today because we are all connected with this invisible bond of culture. And I don't think that culture is only about art and people of art or people of culture. Culture is everything that is important in our society. I decided to invite Marina Targakova to our program because she is truly a legendary person. I used to think that she was a foreigner, but it turned out that she is a Kazakhstani, and this is something we all should be proud of. She is a devoted follower of the great educator and humanist Shalva Amonashvili. She is a leader, she is a speaker, she is an incredibly interesting personality, and that is why she is joining us today. Tell us a few words about the School of Humane Pedagogy. You are a Knight of Humane Pedagogy. What is it? Is it some kind of global movement, or is it a separate institution, building, or is it all about the followers of Shalva Amonashvili the Great?
The word school derived from Latin stairs. It's a staircase that is inside the heart of the student, and the teacher is the one who helps the students climb the stairs. There are two types of pedagogy, authoritarian and humane. They are always present in life. Authoritarian pedagogy is very simple. You don't have to learn it to succeed in it. You see something good, praise. You see something bad, scold. Authoritarian pedagogy takes pride in strong students. And humane pedagogy is the pedagogy that makes the weak grow, that has a place for everyone. And I think that we can say the same about the music. If a student is already gifted, it's easy to work with him, but when thanks to your efforts and to your patience,
The staircase.
thanks to your inspiration, the divine gift that is intrinsic to every person grows and suddenly becomes apparent. This is humane pedagogy. This is not about constant praise and warm words.
And wisdom.
It's simple, because sometimes a person needs severity, sometimes gentleness. And here's the teacher's mind. Remember, it's as Ecclesiastes said, time to scatter stones.
Very simple.
And time to gather them. The time to hug, the time to avoid hugs, and when the teacher feels it's time for each person individually, for the student, this is humane pedagogy. And of course, this is such an exquisite process. It's impossible to learn from books, but it's possible to learn when you're next to the master.
To share some knowledge, to get it, and it is an endless process.
Endless.
There are as many methods and ways of teaching as there are students.
As you know, some real, genuine things, they never cease to exist. They say love never ends, friendship never ends, culture never ends. These are eternal processes. You know, for many people, the word eternity is associated with boredom and stupor. But in fact, eternity is a renewing creative matter. It's always incredibly fresh, this eternity, and it's interesting.
I have a formula for measuring culture, like when they set KPI for us and speak about quantitative indicators, telling us we invest in you, so how much can you return back? And I always think, what can be measured and how? In degrees, centimeters, meters, grams, or kilograms?
In general, for me personally, the main indicator in things like education and culture is how much you are able to serve unconditionally. In fact, same as faith is dead without deeds, culture and knowledge are dead without deeds, too. And it's not at all about I'm giving you and you should give me back. It's about contribution. That's what I'm talking about. Therefore, there is no limit to perfection.
считаются люди культуры.
It is believed that people of culture are those who produce certain products, yes, but those who consume, what happens to them? What kind of transformation are they undergoing? Are there any metamorphoses happening? Because it's always interesting to understand what is happening on the other side of the curtain. You always try to watch the viewers and understand what is happening to those people. It's not that culture influences everyone the same way. Of course, when people are applauding, they're all united. But in fact, if you look at their faces, some just sit, some are wildly enthusiastic, some just close their eyes and rest, being in another dimension. So, what is the real impact of culture? Not only culture, but of our spiritual energies. How do they influence people? In this particular case, I mean, those people who are sitting in the concert halls or listening to a lecture somewhere else.
I think in reality, this influence is like seed. Sometimes it can fall on fertile ground, and then I think your music will touch one's heart, and this person will change his mind about something. I think in this case, it will have the deepest impact. It's going to be a purifying one. There will be more love, and sometimes people can just have a rest, and this is great too. Like a man who was so tired that he came there and fell asleep.
And that is great.
And for someone, it can be like looking through a keyhole at a completely different world. Because, for example, whenever I look at a musician, whenever I see the way he or she is absorbed by music, the way they invite us to immerse in these melodies, the sound, I'm always amazed. I'm struck by your devotion because I think that devotion is one of the most beautiful traits in a person. Dedicated, devoted to culture, devoted to music, this person has the ability to grow, to become a mature person, to convey a certain message. And this, in fact, is a colossal work. That's why I think that if we are working on improving ourselves and, in the meantime, inspire others, then it's a beautiful life.
On the one hand, we believe in that. It seems to us that there is no deception in this. If you do not believe in this, then people will not believe it too. And on the other hand, you have a man who became enlightened. He understood something at the concert. He felt something. And then there are weekdays again, and this influence of art, those spiritual messages have disappeared, as if the influence was short-term and somehow unreal. I do not want to say that we have to prove something with a sledgehammer, but how much can these fragile, ephemeral energies change humanity?
You know, there are three educational systems: Whisper of Love, Voice of Conscience, and Mouthpiece of Suffering. There are three systems, and to our great regret, most of the people are trained in the mouthpiece of suffering. Only when there is, for example, an epidemic or an earthquake, it's only then that person starts to realize something. It's then that person starts to see things clearly.
He can't hear the whisper of love.
Yes, but you know, sometimes when the person is shaken, he begins to hear the voices of conscience first, and then the whisper of love. But if all the same, there will only be one education system, a school of hard blows, then these gentle people who are able to listen to the whispers of love and the voice of conscience will...
They can break under the mouthpiece.
Yes, exactly. You know how it happens with the children upbringing. For instance, for someone, one look is enough, right? Someone is capable of feeling the pain of another person, and someone needs to suffer. I think that your school is a whisper of love, and sometimes...
People can't hear this voice.
You know, sometimes you listen to the music and you hear a voice of conscience. This is not education with a mouthpiece of suffering, but it's a big school of life, and it has different educational systems in it.
How articulate you are when you speak about music. As musicians, sometimes we can't express our thoughts so eloquently.
You have other ways to express them.
Ну вот вы мастер слова. Я просто
Doubtless, you're a
заслушиваю
master of
ваши
words. I cannot stop
выступления,
listening to your
лекции.
speeches and
И
lectures,
для
and
меня
for
еще
me,
важна
the intonation and the
интонация.
expression in your
Ваши
eyes
глаза
are no
во
less
время выступления.
important.
Вы оратор просто 200%.
You are a
1000%,
200%
потому что
speaker, a
вы
1000%,
захватываете
because you can capture the
ни одного
attention of not
человека,
a single person,
сидящих перед
but
вами
about
1000
1,000
человек,
people,
за
5,000, 100,000 people.
захватываете
You capture it with your voice, your thoughts, your words, your speech.
мыслями,
What
своими
is it?
словами,
What kind
речью.
of art is it?
Что это такое? Что за искусство?
It's not for nothing that they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Therefore, when you say such things, I understand that if something like this happens, then it's definitely not my merit. I think that you know it. Sometimes it can be about personality. It's one way of impacting people. But when it comes through you and you're just a postman in this process, then
You are a link in the chain.
you do something that you don't know. You learn exactly the same as everyone else. And then this is really
Happening.
You are in this process and you are afraid to frighten this process away. You're simply being used as a guide, and it's a blessing to be this guide. And when you have something to say, then this is, as Mother Teresa said, if you convey your own message, nobody needs you. And if you convey God's message, even if it's a small thing, it will be very important. Therefore, if something works out, then this is me being a guide. And if something does not work out, it's for sure just me being myself.
Колоссально. Еще у меня есть такая теория, что
This is amazing.
мы не одни.
I also
Вот
have
когда
this
мы выходим
theory
на
that
сцену,
we are
есть
not alone.
естественное вот
So
ощущение,
when,
что
say, we are on
страшно, что тебя
stage,
осудят,
there is
там,
this
где
natural
что-то
feeling
не
of fear,
получится,
fear of
будет
being
скандал,
condemned,
там,
that you
ты
won't
позоришься.
succeed,
А
that
на
there is
самом
going
деле,
to be a
если правильно
scandal, you will
настраивать
be an
сознание,
embarrassment.
и я
But in
вот,
fact, if you
меня
set up your mind
научили,
correctly,
я
and I was taught
особенно
this,
последние
especially
годы
in
стала
recent years,
ходить,
when I
когда
bow at a
кланяюсь,
concert, I
я
just
просто
mentally thank
благодарю,
everyone attending.
благодарю всех, которые пришли мысленно за то, что они совершили этот поступок. И второе, что
And the second, there is this idea that you are not alone. You are together with the spirits of composers, your mentors, the ones that are gone and the present ones. You are with the audience. You are united with your relatives and friends. And when you think of it this way, then all of this gain a completely different meanings and values.
происходит. Меньше всего ты должен
Least
думать,
of all, you should think about people's appreciation, that they might not like you.
и что скажут, а вдруг не
These
понравится. Вот это
worrisome
вот
thoughts are
суета,
unpromising.
которая
They're meaningless. And it is important how we resonate with them.
бессмысленные вообще, да. И надо же, как с вами резонирует.
Это как Акуджава говорил.
This is similar to what Akujava once said. Hopes are a small orchestra conducted by love. And indeed, when we feel that we are not alone, it humbles us. We feel united with the world. And when you bring this to the audience will sense it. And if you bring forward your ego, it can be sensed too.
Это тоже чувствуется.
То чувствуется неинтересно.
Yes, it can be sensed, and this is unattractive.
И ты бесконечно
And you are endless when you are the one with everyone. It feels as if you are touching people, inviting them to listen to these beautiful things, right?
Да.
Вот эта атмосфера.
This atmosphere, when there are so many creative people around you, or when you realize that solo is a big responsibility. Anyway, each of us performs solo from time to time. Sometimes they perform it in their lives, at work, and this is their personal responsibility. But without all of this, there won't be any solos. There are billions in this solo, those whom we do not even feel, see, or hear.
Есть те, кого мы даже не чувствуем, не видим,
Они
не слышим.
They are present.
Yes, they are present.
That's interesting. Are they invisible or something?
Absolutely.
Марина, скажите,
Marina,
что такое вот?
tell us something
Вы
extraordinary.
всё время говорите что-то
You always say some
необыкновенное,
incredible and unusual
завершая нашу
things.
передачу, я
Concluding
хотела
our program, I would like to hear your
более пространный
extensive
ваш
monologue.
монолог.
How does culture
Как
shape
культура
our
прорывается в
lives?
нашу жизнь?
Я думаю, что
I think that I really like the idea of Shalva Alexandrovich Amanashvili, who for me is a great teacher of light. An incredible mentor who teaches how to love children. He teaches parents. And he has once said quite a remarkable thing. One day is a whole life because it's difficult to sum up your life in decades. But if you live one day as one whole life, when you go to bed, it's the same as if you're living your life.
Уходя, он говорит, ты как будто уходишь из этой жизни.
This life.
И ты можешь посмотреть,
And
как
then
ты
you can
прожил эту
reflect on
жизнь.
how you live
И
this
ты
life.
можешь что-то
And you can rethink
переосмыслить.
something, maybe call
Еще,
someone,
может быть,
say
кому-то
something important to
позвонить,
them,
кому-то сказать
maybe
что-то
write to
ценное,
them.
может быть, написать. И вот если каждый день, каждый из нас
And if we
будет
live
проживать
each
как
day
одну
like
жизнь,
as
я
if
думаю,
it's a whole
что
life,
мы
I think that we will be able to
глупостей
stop doing a lot of
перестанем
stupid
делать.
things.
Мы
We will bring a lot of good
хорошего
things into our
привнесем в
lives.
нашу жизнь. И как великий
And
Ганди
as the
сказал,
great
стань той
Gandhi said,
переменой, которую ты ищешь
become
в
that
этом
change
мире.
that you are looking for
Если тебе не
in this
хватает
world.
тепла, стань теплом.
If you do not have enough
Если тебе не
heat,
хватает
become
культуры,
warm.
ну, стань
If you do not
культурным.
have enough
Если тебе
culture,
не
well, become
хватает
cultural.
юмора, ну, добавь.
If you do not have enough
Добавь всего
humor,
в эту
well,
жизнь.
add it
Как,
to your
знаете, как
life.
специи добавляют
As
для
you
того,
know,
чтобы
how
блюдо
spices are
получилось
added to make a
вкусным.
dish
Я
tasty.
думаю, вот это
I
очень
think this is
важно.
very
И
important.
еще
And it
меня
inspires
очень
me a lot.
вдохновляет, как
As Einstein
говорил,
once
«Не
said,
возводите стены,
don't build walls, build
стройте
bridges.
мосты».
And now
Вот мне
culture
кажется,
seems to me
культура
as
— это
this
способность
ability to
строить
build
мосты
bridges, this
и
ability to help
способность
people to
помогать людям
cross
перейти
bridges.
через этот мост.
Sometimes it
Порой
can be
страшно,
scary,
порой
sometimes we don't know what to
неизвестно
do,
что.
but
Но
if
вот
we do
если мы
this,
это
the
делаем,
culture will become
значит, тогда
culture.
культура будет культурой.
Марина, вы знаете, что мы с вами
Marina, do you know that we are now being participants in a series of programs under the umbrella of Kazakh culture in the Global World Project? And I think that today we talked about the most important things that are related to this topic. And this is a conversation that has no end to it. I'm very grateful to have you here today. Knowing you, talking to you, I consider this as a great happiness.
Знакомство с вами, общение с вами.
Спасибо вам большое, что вы несете. Вот, знаете,
Thank you very much for everything you're bringing into this world. You know, the culture of different countries is like different flowers, like a big bouquet of colorful flowers. And if because of you, the culture of Kazakhstan will look like this beautiful, colorful brushstroke, I think it will be just great.
я думаю, что
Thank you for inviting me. It was very unexpected because, believe me, I'm a very humble person.
поверьте, мое отношение к себе очень такое скромное.
Как у
Я так-
всех.
Same as all truly great people. Let's not be too shy.
Thank you so much for this conversation.
Спасибо, Марина.
Thank you, Marina. I will see you soon.